it's a very thin line between seeing yourself as the king over everyone else, or knowing you are and still respecting everyone else.
Black Coffee recently appeared on the Diary of a CEO podcast to talk about his life and his music. He is undoubtedly one of the most influential people, let alone musicians, to ever come out of South Africa. His rise from humble beginnings in the Eastern Cape to Grammy-winning stardom can teach every creative person a lesson. Nati, better known as Black Coffee, grew up in a household without electricity, had to work hard every day, and couldn't go out and have fun like most kids. There is so much to learn from this man, and I highly recommend looking at this podcast. Release me. This was his response when being asked how he managed to do over 150 shows around the globe in 1 year. How did he maintain his energy, his mental well-being, his peace of mind? This is what we do. This line hit me to the point that I had to pause the video to just absorb what he said. This line is a testament to every person at the top of their field. If you want to become a successful artist, you have to sacrifice a large portion of your privacy, energy, and time. Black Coffee is an advocate for therapy, and he explains how a lot of artists actually use therapy to cope with the pressure of their life. At the end of the day, if we want to achieve what we set out to, we have to embrace the life that comes with it and find a way to cope.
For every Saturday, there's a Thursday and a Friday and a Sunday sometimes.
How many shows is that in a year, though, if you were to add it up? Is it, because I read that it was more than 150 sometimes?
No, it is, yeah, definitely.
How?
This is what we do. You know, if you look at you made a reference about Michael Jordan and Kobe. Can you imagine, like, the hours they spend, like, to get to that level?
One of my favorite parts of this podcast is this parallel between Nati, his individual identity, and Black Coffee, his artistic identity. He explains how Black Coffee has all the privileges. Essentially, Nati was a kid that grew up looking at models in a magazine and looking at this luxurious life, whereas Black Coffee lives that life. So he almost views Nati and Black Coffee as two different people, and he explains how they almost use each other to fulfill parts of each other's lives that they never had. He tries to stay grounded, and that reflects in his family life. He explains how he doesn't want his kids getting raised in an environment where they're used to Drake just walking around the pool. I think this parallel between an individual and artistic identity is something super interesting and important to think about. Do we casually pursue our goals to maintain our well-being? Do we fully immerse ourselves into our craft and risk losing who we are? Do we dissociate our personal and artistic lives? The biggest takeaway is that it's you versus you. And the danger is when we try to live these lives simultaneously.
If Nati called, the restaurant is full. If Black Coffee called, there's a seat for you, there's a table for you.
He never chased number one. He never chased any accolades. He didn't chase awards. He regularly put out content that he loved, and the rest followed him. He refers to the concept of less is more. Strip away the things that don't matter, focus on what's important, and by being super intentional, we become able to preserve our energy, time, and well-being. He's not the first to see happiness as a journey, but the way he phrases it is super interesting. He views happiness as this process that's almost linear, and instead of one final destination, it's rather a series of boxes that need to be ticked. Happiness is essentially a process that continually changes. By chasing one destination, one area, we continuously chase something we can never achieve. So what are the boxes that you want to tick?